The heart is an organ that is always in contraction. An abundance of mechanical stresses take place therein that in some way manage to reach the cells. The intuition of the ICGEB project stems from two trivial observations. On the one hand, that the heart is an organ that does not know how to regenerate, and on the other hand, that it is an organ very rarely affected by tumours or from metastases. We asked ourselves whether applying the same mechanical forces exerted by a heart that contracts to an organ affected, for example, by a tumour, we can transmit the same signal to block the proliferation of growth. We realized that there were no tools to apply mechanical forces to the matrix in the cells, and therefore we had to invent these systems, thanks to collaboration with robotics experts.
I'm Domenico Prattichizzo. I'm Professor of Robotics and Haptics. I lead a research group that works between the University of Siena and the Italian Institute of Technology in Genoa. In the heart, tumours do not develop due to a mechanical phenomenon, that is, the heartbeat. We can use this knowledge also for non-cardiac tissues, using robots that can be worn and that induce on non-cardiac tissues, for example the skin, for example a melanoma, a mechanical stress very similar to a heartbeat and therefore have effects based on mechanobiology that slow the development of the melanoma and of the tumour.
As with every research project, ICGEB was and is full of difficulties. We had difficulties understanding how to transmit these mechanical forces to cells, and to understand which forces are fundamental to apply. And then the greatest difficulty we are experiencing at the moment is to miniaturize the robots. Because when we want to work with cells, we have to miniaturize everything by a scale of at least 1 million times smaller.
These devices, we imagine, may weigh up to 100 grams, with a battery that can keep them functioning for up to 6 or 7 hours a day, whilst being almost imperceptible to the subject wearing it.
Another important challenge will be to understand which human tumours and specific medical conditions could benefit most from this type of therapy.
Today, we're ready with the technologies developed in my laboratory to attack external tumours.
For example, melanomas of the skin, rather than breast cancer, could be easier to attack with a mechanical therapy because they are external. We can then imagine perhaps wrapping these tumours in something that mimics a heart that contracts, to block their growth.
On internal organs, this is an even greater challenge, because we have to find technologies, mechanisms and robotic systems capable of transmitting these waves from a distance.
Fortunately, being able to collaborate with experts in the different fields has already allowed us to design small robots on which we have been able to cultivate cardiac cells and tumour cells. We see that, in fact, making these cells contract like a beating heart, they grow less. Thus, our initial hypotheses seem to have actually been verified. Hence, the challenge now will be to translate this hypothesis into something concrete that can actually block tumours.
Collaboration with ICGEB has been extremely synergistic. Our knowledge is strongly complementary. ICGEB is a very important centre from our point of view, because through engineering methodologies, it deals with issues that are important, including those related to biology and genetic engineering. And I believe that these are key for future technologies for the next 10 to 20 years. The ICGEB project is centred on goal number 3, which is health and well-being, of Agenda 2030 of the United Nations.
Because, in fact, it proposes the development of new therapies, principally for tumours, with possible applications also in the cardiovascular field, and thus going to impact on those diseases that are the first cause of death in all the world.
Because it will develop highly innovative technologies for cancer treatment.